Welcome back to another video. Now it has been a very long time since I've actually recorded a YouTube video, especially for my cars, and it's been very busy for the past few months, and that's why I haven't. But in today's video, I'm actually going to be telling you guys a story on behind I actually got my R31 Skyline. So I don't even know the exact date, but I actually do have a video clip of me going to the car, and while I was recording I was literally shaking so much because I just couldn't believe that I was like, bro, I'm literally about to buy my very first Skyline and it's an R31. Like, that's nuts. So I'll roll that clip right now. And you can just tell that I was so excited. I wasn't saying anything, you can tell I was so shaky. Hopefully I can find that clip. I should have it somewhere, but it was so funny. I think I've had this car for probably nearly a year now. I think some point next year, like near the start of next year, I'm pretty sure I have this car for a full year and I've done absolutely nothing. Which is so bad. I think the only thing I have done to this car is put rear coilovers on, and that is it. But in that little video, it was at a mechanic shop, and it was funny because one day, me and my boss, where we work, we had to go to a local wreckers nearby. So we went to the local wreckers, and I saw round taillights. The first thing that came on, I'm like, there's a fucking Skyline in this wreckers. Why is there a Skyline here? And immediately I had to go there, like on the weekend of that week. Like, I had to just go. And me and my partner, we went down, we had a look, and I think I asked a few questions about the car that I currently had, or I was just asking like if they had any like JDM type cars or any like decent cars like that for a project. And we started looking. I believe I was currently looking at an MX-6 owned by a very famous mechanic. He was a mechanic for some sort of rally car driver, I believe. He owned this MX-6. It was very low in kilometers. I believe it was a manual, but it needed a lot of work done. And they did give me a price for two MX-6s because they do have two there, but I think they were just asking for a bit too much, especially with how much work I had to do to the cars. But as we entered the yard of the cars, I saw the circle taillights, and it was this bad puppy. And immediately I slapped my partner on the arm of excitement, and I'm like, dude, that is the fucking Skyline I was talking about. And I had to ask about the Skyline. Sadly, the people I was talking to, like at the wreckers, I asked them, I'm like, what's the go with that Skyline there? Like, are you guys selling it? What are you guys doing with it? And they said that someone actually purchased it a month ago like when I asked them, like a month ago, for a shitbox rally car. And I'm like, no, they're not going to be using that car. Like, they're going to use this car for a shitbox rally. No, thank you. And I'm like, damn, like, when's he coming to pick it up? Like, is there a way I can get his phone number and like ask him if he wants to sell it or anything like that? Because he was actually picking this up and a Cressetta, I believe. I think so. And I'm like, as we walked out of the wreckers, I was so devastated. I'm like, I need to get a hold of the owner that brought this car. And a few weeks went by. I kept going back for some parts for the car I was currently driving as a daily, and so I kept going back, grabbing some parts for the daily I was currently driving. And then one day I walked in there and picked up some, I think I brought some taillights off them, and yeah, so I walked in there, I brought some taillights, and they're like, Well, as I was entering, and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, that bloke for the R31, he doesn't want it anymore. And he's literally, like, just down the street with it, getting it serviced. If you want, go chat to him, and you can buy it off him. I'm like, it's my lucky day. So I'm like, sweet, I'll be back. I ran down the street, and I was wearing my work boots and everything. I was like, I'm fucking running to this joint. Ran in there, and I'm like, hey, I was just at the Wreckers, and they said that you no longer want this R31. They're like, yeah, do you want to buy it? I'm like, depends on how much you're offering. So we came down to a price. I believe I brought the whole car itself for $1,400, I think. $1,1500 is, I believe, how much I brought this for. It could have been even cheaper, I'm not too sure. So then I quickly rung my boss up. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be late. Someone just offered me some money to buy their Skyline, and he was cool with it. And so I went to the bank, deposited the money straight away, and went and brought the car, and then he drove it all the way to my place, and here it is. Been sitting in my yard for nearly a year now. I do have big plans for it now that I'm finally settled back at home, because I haven't really been home for like the past 2 months, and the events I was going to, it just cost me a lot of money, and I couldn't spend at literally $1 on the Skyline. Especially in Australia, parts for this thing is just ridiculous, and people ask for stupid prices, like a set of taillights that are cracked out of their fucking mind and like yellow as shit. People asking like over $1,000. Why? It's just stupid, but I mean, that's what you kind of get for wanting a really old Skyline. So this right here is actually a 1990 R31 Executive. It's like, I'm pretty sure the Executive is just one up the base model, so it's like a luxury version of the base model, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still slowly doing my research about the R31s. Now this one has the RB30E. I believe nearly all of the Australian ones had the RB30. I could be wrong. I know some came with a CA18, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong yet again. I do know that some of these came with different engines. So this one in particular has the RB30, and like I said, I believe the majority of them had the RB30 anyway. My plans are, I will be turboing it. I think in the meantime, I will most likely, like the engine that's in it. Oh, hello, doggy. I think in the meantime, I will be fixing the engine that's in it. Like, it starts and drives, but it's just really, really rough because it's been sitting, it was sitting at the Wreckers for such a long time. You good there? And it was just sitting there for a long time, so I needed to fix it up, and I will be buying I'm going to be keeping a RB30 turbo. I'm going to keep it an RB30. I'm not going to be changing it to a different engine like a fucking 2JZ or RB26 or anything like that. I'm just going to keep it as an RB30 and probably start with just a low boost turbo. So it's just running low PSI for now. But everything I will be doing to the car, I'll probably explain in the next video. But I do need to save up to get an engine crane, so then obviously when I do get an RB30 turbo, I can actually rebuild that engine. Because obviously I'll be buying it second hand. I'm not going to be buying like fully forged one, because yeah. So that's pretty much the story on how I got this R31. It's a pretty funny, weird story. I literally just got it at the local Wreckers pretty much. But I just find it funny how the bloke that brought it off the Wreckers literally was going to use it for a shitbox rally, and I refused for that bloke to use it as a shitbox rally car. Now I don't know if a shitbox rally is anywhere else, like in America or anywhere like that, but for those who don't know, they just use cheap shitty cars and just have it as a rally car and just pretty much just destroy them. and I don't think this is a cheap shitty car, so especially what you can do and the icon behind it. I think another cool thing about this R31 is that I am the only one in my area currently that owns an R31. No one else in this area has an R31. There's a few like R34s and 32 and 33, but no one's got an R31. I'm the only one, which is cool. So it's going to be cooler when this is actually up and running and actually drivable on the road. And I honestly cannot wait for that. And I'm going to be starting the series soon on actually doing that. It's going to take a while, but hopefully maybe even before next year, even though this year's nearly over already, which is so crazy to think about. But when this is, I'm going to start the series soon, pretty much. And I can't wait because it's going to be awesome. I'm going to probably just fix this engine that's in it for now, and buy an RB30 turbo to fix that second-hand engine and fix everything up, make sure everything's like A1. And also it's pretty much a series on just me actually learning how everything works so I can teach myself and obviously get a helping hand out everywhere else. It's pretty much a massive learning curve. Also just saving up and obviously doing the whole exterior and interior and just everything all around. Obviously there's some stuff that I would like to learn how to do, but I just know it's very expensive for myself to do it, to save up for the equipment to do for myself. But eventually it's going to be on the road and we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to the reactions we're going to be getting when this thing is on the road, it's going to be phenomenal because it's the only one in the area. And I will be getting more R31s. I would love a silhouette. I feel like an R31 silhouette would be mint. I would also like a R31 wagon. I feel like those would be pretty cool. I like the ones that are done up, like nice lowered, stanced a little bit, and just, oh, they look so nice. They do, they really do. But yeah, I will be definitely, I'm also like going to start collecting like a shitload of R31 parts. Yeah, I'm going to start collecting a lot of R31 parts because over time they're just going to become rarer and rarer, and I feel like the more parts I have and the more collection of R31s I can get, the better and easier it's going to be to just do exotic and just a lot different things. So over time, my dream obviously would be to have an R31 GTS, but obviously they're very expensive, and I most likely might even have to import one from Japan, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, this is the R31 that I brought from my local wreckers, and it's going to be fun, and I'm super excited. We're still going to be doing the Beamer content, but I've now changed my mind with the Beamer. For now, I think we're just mainly going to be focusing on the R31 because it's like the value for these things are just up in price, and it's just nuts. Like I could sell this thing for way more than what I bought it for, which is stupid, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's the story on how I brought this R31.